three-dimensional existentialism and moving beyond the duality of human nature. In philosophical discourse, the exploration of dualities has long been a fundamental pursuit. Concepts such as light and dark, order and chaos, and good and evil have served as foundational frameworks for understanding the complexities of existence. However, as we begin our examination deeper into the nuanced nature of these dualities, it becomes apparent that reality is far more intricate and multifaceted than simple binary oppositions may suggest. Indeed, the necessity for moving beyond traditional bounds of philosophical duality arises from the recognition that such dichotomies fail to capture the full spectrum of human experience and moral complexity. Yes, I'll clarify that later. I know what you're thinking, and it's not the case, no. Take, for instance, the dichotomy between light and dark. In its simplest form, this duality represents opposing forces. Light symbolizing purity and enlightenment and goodness, while darkness connotes ignorance, malevolence, or evil. Yet upon closer examination, we find that the boundary between light and dark is not absolute. Rather, it is permeable, with many, not necessarily just 50, with many different shades of gray existing in the form of shadows and twilight. Similarly, the distinction between good and evil is not always clear-cut. The archetypes of the anti-hero, a character who exhibits morally ambiguous or even villainous traits, yet possesses a solid ethical and moral foundation, illustrates some of the nuanced nature of human morality. This recognition of shades of gray within traditional dualities extends beyond philosophical inquiry to encompass psychological and ethical dimensions, as well as what I consider to be the third dimension of existentialist thought. Again, back to the introductions and the juxtaposition of Nietzsche and Jung. In psychology, the concept of the shadow, a term popularized by Carl Jung, refers to the subconscious aspects of the self that are often repressed or denied. These shadow elements, which encompass both light and dark aspects of the psyche, play a crucial role in shaping human behavior and personality. By acknowledging and integrating these varying shadowy aspects, individuals can achieve greater self-awareness and psychological wholeness, allowing them to adopt more completely and effectively, not only within their communities and society as a whole, but in virtually any scenario. Moreover, the acknowledgement of moral ambiguity challenges the efficacy of traditional social engineering approaches, as exemplified by Edward Bernays and company. While Bernays' techniques of mass persuasion and manipulation may have been effective in shaping public opinion and behavior, they often relied on oversimplified narratives and binary distinctions between good and evil. The works of Bernays and others of his ilk have further opened the door to blatant manipulation of the masses, and the ultimate purpose of the modern state, as noted by historian James Scott, is, this is to quote James Scott, "The prime aim of the modern state is to establish metrics for rendering a social hieroglyph into a legible and administratively more convenient format." In other words, the work of Bernays and his peers has been utilized for the purposes of social engineering in order to keep the people submissive to the state, which you can see is perhaps a necessity to some degree. But when it begins to repress the people and to deny them of their true freedom and mitigate or actively inhibit their capacity to reach their full potential, it becomes a problem. And that is one of the biggest challenges that we faced with the introduction of the Rural Development Community Centers and the programs that we are implementing. In stark contrast to this often oppressive and harmful train of thought, a more nuanced understanding of human psychology and morality recognizes the inherent complexity of human nature and the inadequacy of one-size-fits-all solutions. Blanket solutions just never work. The more nuanced understanding and practice of the combined philosophy and psychology recognizes that life is often more complex than an academic book may suggest, and offers people both the freedom to be the best they can be individually, while at the same time exhibiting and demonstrating actions and practices that benefit not only themselves, but the family unit, the local community, and even the state. This is the very nature of philosophical existentialism, where philosophical existentialism is concerned with existence, especially human existence, as viewed in the theories of existentialism, raises the question of the existential dilemma. The existential dilemma is this: because we are free, we are also inherently responsible. Thus, the third dimension of existential philosophy is not only integral, but a necessary part of the foundation for systemically sustainable human growth and development. When traversing throughout this multidimensional landscape of human experience and morality, this third dimension emerges, sometimes subtly, sometimes blatantly, sometimes forcefully, but it emerges as a philosophy that extends well beyond the accepted limitations of traditional dualities, and is one which must be embraced if society is to move towards a more systemically sustainable form of human growth and development. The third dimension of existential thought embraces ambiguity, uncertainty, and paradox, recognizing that reality is not confined to neat categories or absolute truths, though absolute and objective truth, when known, should not be denied either. That is not to say it should not be challenged, but it cannot be denied. Objective reality will always remain objective reality. Personal emotions, personal feelings can be accommodated to a degree, but to demand society as a whole bow to what is by definition delusional thinking, you totally rip out the social fabric that holds society together. So while individual proclivities or individual feelings and emotions must be addressed and respected, at the same time, you cannot make any unreasonable demands upon society to literally rip away the fabric of society to accommodate an individual. It is not a socially viable approach. When applied properly, this multidimensional approach can have a literal, even existential effect on the individual, familial, and communal and societal levels. By embracing complexity and diversity, we create a space for dialogue, empathy, and understanding, fostering deeper connections and mutually beneficial relationships, whereas society supports the individual, and the individual can in turn support the society. Everybody benefits. Moreover, by recognizing the inherent value of every individual and their unique experiences, we promote inclusivity and social cohesion, leading to a more resilient and harmonious community without the intolerant tolerance or denial of objective truths so prevalent in the world today. At the societal level, this multidimensional approach to philosophy in conjunction and harmony with psychology, going back to Nietzsche and Jung, battling in my brain, see the link in the description below, can inform and encourage the implementation of more equitable and just policies and institutions. Rather than imposing rigid moral frameworks or hierarchical power structures, such an approach encourages participatory decision-making and democratic, or at least semi-autonomous, decentralized and localized governance that provides real and tangible benefits at the local level, while at the same time remaining within the grasp and under the influence of local populations who know and understand the local situation far better than some distant demagogic despot dealing in devious and deceitful diatribes under the guise of the social contract and the security of the people. By valuing plurality and diversity in their more nuanced forms, as they exist beyond the mere concepts of duality, we create a society that is more responsive to the needs and aspirations of its members, ultimately fostering greater individual fulfillment and collective well-being. The necessity for moving beyond the traditional bounds of a philosophical duality arises from the recognition of the inherent complexity and multidimensional nature of the human experience and morality. Again, this should not be interpreted as a call for the denial of objective reality or objective truth where it does exist, but rather as an added dimension to the thoughts and existential nature of that reality, which is by nature more subjective. By embracing this third dimension of existential thought within the context of more traditional dualities, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us, moving beyond simplistic narratives and binary oppositions. This multidimensional approach invites us to embrace ambiguity, paradox, and diversity, fostering deeper connections, greater empathy, and more inclusive communities. Ultimately, it offers a path towards a more equitable, just, and compassionate society, one that honors the richness and complexity of human existence for the individual, the family, and the community as a whole, allowing for the groundwork to be laid for systemically sustainable human growth and development. If you'd like to know more, let us know. Thank you. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment below.